what plan is actively in place to recruit and keep teachers of color?
Good question.
Good question.
Good
I had
question.
that on my list too, by the way.
If I can go first?
Yeah.
This has been it's been a very difficult thing to do. We have a group in East Moline called MIT. We started it about 5 years ago. Charlene Taylor Upchurch, Margarita Mojica, and myself got together, and we wanted to figure out ways to bring more individuals. We want our school district to look like our community. We think it's important to have role models of every color in our school district, and every, not just color, but different backgrounds as well. And that's extremely important. We've been working at this, and we work with an individual that used to be the director of Group O's diversity. His name is Mr. Ramirez, and he's an East Moline resident. He's since taken a job in Chicago. But Alfred tried to help us come up with a plan and work on not only recruiting more individuals to East Moline, but how East Moline, the people that work within East Moline, can grow in terms of cultural competence as well. That's something very important. Most people, most of our teachers, I'm guessing, grew up with a middle-class background. That's my guess. And not all of our students come from that background. So we want to make sure that they have some empathy and understand the different cultures and the different students that are in our classrooms. We have gone to recruiting fairs. I've joined the Quad City Hispanic Chamber. It's very important to me because we can use their online job board. We've tried reaching out in different ways, and I'll be honest, the best thing we've done is try to steal people. And I'm not saying it would steal from UT or steal from Moline or Rock Island, but a gentleman named Jim Andrews, who was the director of HR at Rock Island, taught me this. Jim Andrews was the former principal at North High School. I've known Jim a long time. He's a good man, but he told me, Kristen, you got to go out and steal people. When they move to this community, you've got to just get them and you get them signed. Don't go through this, whatever the process is. You've got to bring them in. And so I started doing that. I would reach out to individuals where I would get word of mouth. And it's not even close to enough yet. I remember one individual, we had a posting for a job, and I called her on the phone, and this was in August. This was 3 years ago. I called her on the phone, and she was surprised the superintendent was calling her, and I said, I'd like to meet you. Can we meet this morning and have breakfast? And she's like, are you serious? Well, she just moved to the Quad Cities. She lived in Davenport. She had no idea where our administration building was in East Moline. I said, I will come to you. What do you know? She knew about Panera by North Park Mall. So we met there an hour later, and I hired her 45 minutes after that. You have to go out, and you have to actively find individuals that will be great role models for your students. Right now, as the principal at Wells Elementary, that was just 7, 8 years ago, I was the principal. I'd say 8, 9 years ago, I would have 300 applicants for one elementary teaching job. A third grade job, we would have about 300 people in the pool. Today, because of a lot of factors that are out of other people's control, we might have 8 to 10 applicants for that job. The state of Illinois has really changed a lot of the rules, and the university's programs, I don't want to say they're gutted, but they're close. Western Illinois' program used to have a lot of students. They no longer have a great deal of students in their program. That's the same statewide. So when you take a pool of candidates and you shrink down even farther, it's even harder to get individuals that want to go into that profession. So I'd like to tell you that when you go to a recruiting fair, you see a lot of individuals of color or different cultures. You do not. We're not seeing a lot of individuals going into the profession, and I don't know why, but we need to recruit them and get them to come to East Moline. Actively, myself, I've hired 5 people in the last 3 years just by doing what Jim Andrews has prescribed. I've never stolen from any of our neighboring school districts. I wouldn't do that. But it's very important that we have to do more, and we have to reach out. That includes reaching out to our churches and asking them to post job openings and bulletins. We have parents that attend churches, and they can let their children know, what if they're in Chicago teaching and they want to come back home? They can come back to East Moline, and we're going to hire them. So we have to continue to do better, and I can't tell you we've done great. I won't tell you we've done great until we get a lot more individuals that come to our school district to make us a stronger community.
I would agree with everything Kristen has said. I want to add a few things. The biggest challenge, Jim Andrews, Jim was a mentor to many of us administrators, coming from Davenport. He had spent the last several years as a human resources director at Rock Island. And the Rock Island School District would go to historically African American colleges on recruiting trips, and he would talk about the difficulties of getting folks to the Quad City area, and that's a challenge we have of attracting quality candidates to the area. What we have done at United Township since I've become superintendent, what does work is grow your own programs, and 10 years ago we had 0 dual credit courses at United Township. We have partnered with Blackhawk College, and this year a student has an opportunity to earn 18 credit hours towards their associate's degree. So they can come out of United Township with over a semester's worth of work towards their associate's degree. We put the dual credit program in place. Our goal is to get to 30 credit hours or a year's worth of college credit within the next 5 to 7 years. The reason for that is our community, as we know, is changing drastically. The poverty level, free and reduced lunch rate is how we measure poverty at United Township, is right around 60%. So 60% of our kids qualify for free or reduced lunch. At East Moline, it's higher. At 3 of our partner, we have 5 partner districts that send students to UT. 3 of them are on the SNAP program, is it called?
CEP, Community Eligibility Provision.
So the entire student population is free or reduced lunch. So we know that's going to get it's going to be a broader impact on our community. So we feel the best way to address keeping our talent in-house is to offer dual credit courses. So if they go to Blackhawk, a 3 credit hour course is going to cost about $450, $450 to $500. They can get it at UT for $45 for a 3 credit hour course. We feel that we can do that and offer many, many kids the opportunity. Get it into their thought process. Hey, I can do this college thing. It's not that big a deal. I can do it. And also, from a hiring perspective, to add to what Kristen, we've really consciously tried to hire an employee base that's more reflective of our community. That doesn't necessarily always mean teachers. Teachers of color are very difficult to find, but we have paraprofessionals, tutors. We've done a really nice job, in my opinion, of being more reflective of our community the last couple of years.
And I was just going to add to the Grow Your Own. All of us, every single one of us, here and here in the audience, all have a responsibility to grow our own. I'm getting a wave. And I'll use this as an example. I would say, you know, any child that comes, not every single time they come into my office at Boalsburg, but from time to time, as kids come in to see me and I have opportunity, you know, you say, have you thought about what you want to be when you grow up? You know, I think you might make a good teacher, or you might make a good nurse. I'll do that one too. So we got to be talking to them and putting ideas in their heads. And then that's the first hurdle. Then the next hurdle is if there's nobody in their family that's ever gone to college, oh my gosh, that was my family. I was actually the first and only one. My parents didn't have a clue as to what needed to be done, and it's 1,000 times more complicated now than it was X number of years ago. I was up at UT. We have a new paraprofessional, a young black man, and I met him and I'm talking to him, and he already has a bachelor's degree. It's just not in education. And I said, my gosh, you know, have you thought about going back? It's not going to be as difficult because you already have a whole bunch of credits. You're here in the school, you know, you might as well be making more money if you're going to put in the time. So, but we've got to be taught it's going to take time. That's not the quick fix, but we got to talk to all of our kids, all of our children at any age and stage. You know, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? You know, they need to hear it. How did all of you get the idea of doing what you ended up in life? Some of it just happened, but for many, there was somebody there that there was a spark and you thought, I like that person. I'd like to do what they do, kind of thing. So it takes us all.